What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so here's the situation we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's about time. We're starting to see some winter weather alerts going up in the plains and in parts of the mid-Atlantic. So we're going to go ahead and cover that in just a second. But before we do, we need to talk about why I have the satellite showing up for you today. I know the last few days I've been showing satellite as kind of a filler to get you guys engaged before I get started with what I want to do. But the reason I'm showing you the satellite today is because of this thing right here. That's the snowstorm. That's the Colorado low that is starting to organize and develop. It's actually started to organize and develop since last night. And if we can actually find the some radar for this, we can kind of get an understanding of what we're looking at. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up radar scope to kind of show you what we're potentially looking at, because there are some snow reports that we are starting to see. The radar is definitely starting to show some snowfall, starting to really get its act together, starting to organize and develop. It's going to take some time for this thing to really ramp up to the intensity that it's going to, but what we do have right now is the start of this potentially big snowstorm that's going to be impacting the mid-Atlantic. It's going to be bringing severe weather to the deep south and even into New England, where we could see a lot of stuff happening in a very short amount of time. We're going to see some more winter weather alerts in the next couple of days. That's a guarantee. And we also have one more snowstorm that's going to be coming a couple of days later and hitting the Midwest on the 9th. But then right after that, we're looking at another potential snowstorm, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. I don't want to get sidetracked. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and show you what we have going on right here. We have some winter weather alerts going on. We're going to start the winter storm watches. We're going to start with the ones up in New Hampshire and Maine, which I think is pretty interesting to say at the very least. We're going to go ahead and start right here. Winter storm watch is currently in effect. Total snow accumulations of greater than 6 inches are possible. This is in effect from Saturday evening through Sunday evening, so about 24 hours going on. Even light snowfall impacts, even light snowfall amounts can accumulate on roads and cause dangerous travel conditions. So that's kind of what we're looking at, kind of like ahead of time before we get into this. But we also have some other winter weather alerts that we need to talk about right here. We're going to go ahead and actually show you the screen on this so we can kind of read these out to you properly. I'm sorry I didn't do that last time, but please bear with me because we have a lot of stuff to cover today. We're looking at heavy snow accumulations and mixed precipitation possible in parts of Pennsylvania. Total snow accumulations of 4 to 7 inches possible. However, I have seen a bunch of models calling for something even greater than that, so we'll break it down as we get into the model part of the video. But here's the impacts. The worst travel conditions are expected Saturday afternoon through Saturday night, especially along Interstates 80 and 81, where snowfall rates can exceed 1 inch per hour at times of creating snow-covered roads and poor visibility. So here's my best advice for you guys tuning in who are in this winter storm watch. Based off of the timing that we're going to go off of, and we'll show you the timing of this, I would say a couple of hours before this thing starts, that's the last time you should leave the house until you get going. Now, I'm not your governor, I'm not your local officials, that's just my opinion, but based off the fact that we're also looking at some potential ice with this is going to be very hairy for quite a while. So we need to pay attention to. We need to completely pay attention to this as more data continues to come in. We are seeing snowfall and continuing to show, and even down near Roanoke, Virginia, into the Appalachians of North Carolina. Heavy mixed precipitation possible is due to, with the winter storm watch. Total snow and sleet accumulations up to 2 inches and ice accumulations of around 0.2 of an inch possible. That's why the winter storm watch is in effect, but mainly not because of the snow, which for that part will need like 6 to 8 inches for a winter storm watch to be initiated, but mainly due to the ice and the sleet, because a little bit of ice, like a 1/4 of an inch of ice, is going to potentially down power lines. It's going to cause all the friction in the roads to stop, and that could cause a bunch of situations. And like we've said before, we are looking at a potential ice storm with this, so we will have to continue to pay attention to all this stuff as more info continues to come in and as time continues to go on. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start showing you some other things real quickly. First off, we have a severe weather threat going on. We have a severe weather threat in the deep south for now day 5 and day 6. The day 5 risk is from Austin all the way to the Florida Panhandle, and day 6 is from the Panhandle through Georgia and through most of Florida. So that's the latest breaking news we have right there, although we could see some severe weather as far north as North Carolina on the 9th. So we will have to pay attention to this as time continues to go on. There is still some uncertainty regarding how much instability will develop inland over these areas due to the possibility of substantial convection over the northern Gulf of Mexico, impending the low-level moisture advection to some extent. Even so, the GEFS mean forecast cape of 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram into Texas and Louisiana and into Alabama could support a severe thunderstorm threat with very strong deep layer shear. That's why they put the 15% risk out. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and adjust the screen for you real quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and jump right into the models because we have a lot to talk about today. And I know I'm talking a little bit fast, but please bear with me. I'm trying to convey all the information I can for you guys. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and show you the GEM RDPS as more medium range models have come out and kind of given us an idea of what we are looking at. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you. Here's what we have with the GEM RDPS right here. Right now, we're starting to see that stuff starting to organize and develop in Colorado and New Mexico. It's going to first bring some snowfall to Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle, then the snow is going to fizzle out, and then from then on out, it looks like we're going to have a bit of a severe weather threat, although some snow for the St. Louis area is not out of the question with this first storm, and even as far north as Chicago, that's not out of the question, but the main story is going to be once it hits the mid-Atlantic, because with the potential severe weather threat we are looking at right here, that's when the ice storm starts to really ramp up across much of North Carolina, all the way to Mecklenburg County where Charlotte is, and even into Raleigh, Durham, Winston-Salem, Greensboro. A lot of areas could get impacted by some ice, so we need to continue to monitor all of this as we continue to get more information out. But in the meantime, the ice storm starts to move through Virginia, and then it starts to transition to snow as the upper layers of the atmosphere start to cool off more and start to be completely below freezing throughout the whole layer. And then you start having the snow start to impact much of D.C. That rain-snow line is just south of Washington, D.C. proper, and the ice is kind of all over the place. And then the rain-snow line starts to kind of push a little bit further to the north, and then the ice starts to really impact a lot of Maryland. It looks like from what I'm looking at, Washington, D.C. starts off as snow and then transitions to rain and then potentially freezing rain as time continues to go on. And Philadelphia, it's pretty much a combination of snow, rain, and freezing rain, so we'll have to pay attention to it. And then same thing with New York City, but Boston could definitely see a lot of snow before this freezing rain moves through, and then even after that, the snow starts to ramp up. So what are we looking at for snow from the GEM RDPS? Well, it's a bit complicated, actually. The snow accumulations are a bit further to the further to the west than they've been initially forecasted. They've pushed out of like Montgomery County, Loudoun County, Fairfax County, as they were yesterday, and they've pushed a little bit further to the west. It's going to really depend on where this storm sets up in the next couple of days. So this is not exactly set in stone just yet, but we do have a better idea of what we're potentially looking at. But even still, a difference of 50 miles from the rain-snow line can basically make or break how much snow you guys get. And 50 miles to the south of this rain-snow line could definitely mean the difference between getting an inch of snow to getting a foot of snow, as parts of Pennsylvania get up to a foot of snow, according to GEM RDPS. And this storm isn't even over just yet. And we can go ahead and show you the GEM GDPS to kind of give you a better understanding of what we're looking at right here. The GEM GDPS, we are seeing some stuff happening where the GEM GDPS from the 0Z run is showing up to 16 inches of snow in Vermont and New Hampshire. Even down in Boston, we're looking at up to a foot of snow. That rain-snow line, it's kind of going to be dependent on what you're looking at, especially in New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. If we go ahead and show you the 12Z of what we have pulled up, definitely a situation where we have some stuff going on, and that rain-snow line is kind of going to be fluctuating. It's going to be going back and forth, back and forth. Here's the 12Z GEM GDPS from yesterday. This is where it was before. Then you had it kind of staying around that same place. Then you have it pushing a little bit further to the west, back it's going to likely ebb and flow over the next few days. And what happens in Maryland, what happens in D.C., what happens in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, into Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, is really going to depend on that rain-snow line. And I know I keep saying this like a broken record, but it is imperative, because the main concern I have with this is not anymore the rain-snow line. My concern, especially for DC and Philadelphia, is the freezing rain and the sleet. That if the snow doesn't accumulate over there, it could end up being an even worse situation with the ice that starts to fall. So we're going to have to wait and see how this whole thing plays out. But now for a more long-term track, we're also paying attention to another threat that we're looking at for parts of the Midwest over here. As you can see right here, here's what we have going on for much of the Midwest, parts of St. Louis, even into the Chicago area, starting on January 9th, where we start seeing a massive amount of snowfall, and even some snowfall again into western Philadelphia and upstate New York right there. And then we have a clipper on the 12th, and then the GFS and the GEM RDPS evidently is now calling for another snowstorm just head towards the Chicago area and impact the Midwest again. We'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit later, but I want to go ahead and briefly take a look at the snow accumulations from the GEM GDPS. And the GEM GDPS for the second storm in the Chicago area is potentially up to a foot of snow from what we're looking at. Even in St. Louis, we're looking up to 8 to 10 inches of snow. So still, it's going to be a very serious problem as the time continues to go on. If we go ahead and show you the European model is showing a similar situation. That rain-snow line is going to be differing between models and for much of the models, especially in the Mid-Atlantic, where we're basically the difference of like 2 inches of snow and 8 inches of snow is like 50 miles apart. So we'll have to pay attention to it. And we also have in the Chicago area, we're looking at, again, about 10 plus inches of snow with up to 15 inches of snow in LaPorte, in South Bend, all those areas over there. Even Detroit could be seeing a lot of snow from this. And then if we go ahead and show you the GFS is really the kingmaker in the Midwest, because this is the 0Z GFS. If we can go ahead and show you this, in parts of St. Louis, we are looking at up to 20 inches of snow from the second snowstorm. And in parts of the Chicago area, we're looking up to 15 inches. That is absolutely crazy right there. And this isn't just this is just the beginning right here, because from what I'm looking at with long-term models, and the GFS has also been picking up on this, we're looking at even more snow, especially for parts of the Chicago area right here. Here's the precipitation type right here. I know I'm going to go a little bit over on this video, but I want to show you guys this right here. Another snowstorm starts on the 14th and the 15th. The GEM GDPS has a little bit further to the north, but still another 10 plus inches of snow possible for parts of the Midwest. Keep in mind, this is 10 days out. We're going to have to wait and see what plays out, and we will keep you updated on all of this on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. We're closing the video out right here. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.